What is up, everybody, and welcome back to another Madden 24 online CFM game. We are now in week 17 of the 2025 season here in the Premier Madden League. We have a mega matchup in the NFC Conference on deck as our Los Angeles Rams are ready to take on the 13-2 New Orleans Saints. The Saints are currently battling for the 1 seed in the NFC Conference. They're heads up against the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle currently holds that first round bye, but New Orleans is looking to sneak their way in. The one thing that could stop the Saints from getting that first round bye, of course, is our Los Angeles Rams this week, because we have been playing great football in the second half of this season. Ever since week 10, we've only lost one game ultimately, and that was week 14 against the Houston Texans. We are coming off of a feel-good win last week against the Carolina Panthers that has positioned us well to make the postseason. We only need to win one of our final 2 games in order to clinch a playoff spot, and we are hoping that we can get it done this week. We're going to go for it this week against New Orleans, because if we can win, that means we get a chance to rest our starters in the season finale against the San Francisco 49ers. And given how much health has depleted our roster throughout the season, it would be mega to rest our guys. And now we're finally getting healthy, knock on wood, as we bring back our starting quarterback Jalen Henderson from a multi-week injury. Tyree Jackson has done an admirable job for us, and he's gotten into some shootouts when he really shouldn't have to have. But we now have Jalen back. We have most of our squad back from injury. We're really only missing Ashton Gallot right now, the rookie. But otherwise, and I believe Garrett Bowles is still injured as well. We have our guys otherwise, and we'll see what we can do against a tough Saints team that is currently top 10 in offense and defense. So it should be a slugfest throughout the game, as you see some of their top players, including our boy Caden Stearns. We're going to have to take down Stearns in order to try to secure a playoff spot here in Los Angeles. It'll be a fun one. The chit chat is done. It is now time to play ball here at SoFi Stadium. We are underway as the Rams look like they will take a touchback on their opening kickoff. Here's Antonio Gibson looking to set the tempo, a gain of 4 yards. Welcome back Jalen Henderson as he completes his first pass attempt since getting injured against the Atlanta Falcons back in, I believe, week 13. And Kirk Merritt gets injured, which is not what we're trying to see out here. Merritt's going to have to step off the field. Second down, Jalen stepping, looking, going, Cop. It's broken up and incomplete. Not much separation created. Still no word on Merritt as we face a third down. Good pocket. Great throw. And an even better catch by Cooper Kupp. I believe Merritt should be all right to return. In the meantime, Jalen will take care of some of the running responsibility. He scrambles for 7. Next play, it's RJ Maryland outside. Coughed it up late, but that's after he stepped out of bounds. Into the red zone we go. And maybe a yard or 2 further after that Gibson run. Jalen's going to call his own number outside and in. JJ, the jet plane, is back to taking flight here at SoFi. An emphatic opening drive capped off by Henderson on the run from about 15 yards out. The juke move froze everyone. So that's quite a statement drive put on by our Rams, and let's see how the Saints can respond. Defense has been a little bit of the issue the past couple of weeks. We seem to have rectified some of those issues against the Carolina Panthers, but it was a 5-win Panthers team. So we're going to see if we can carry over that momentum against a much better Saints offense, as, I mean, Aaron Donald's always going to cause havoc. Bringing up a 3rd down and 4 after the Jatavion Sanders grab. This is Max Duggan firing a rifle to Chris Olave, the undisputed #1 receiver on this team. Duggan middle, double coverage. Playing with fire is Max Duggan, who's actually the backup quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Their usual starter, Malik Murphy, is injured, so they go to Duggan to try to lead their team to a potential #1 seed. An injury to Eric Armstead that brings up 3rd down and 4. That is blown up. Rayshon Benny in the trenches. 4th down, Saints on the field. Big play early in the game. Here's Duggan looking and picked off Devon Jackson. That is the jack of all trades with his 13th count them, 13 interceptions. It's definitely not unlucky for Devon as he racks up historic numbers in his first NFL season. That'll force the ultimate turnover on downs. Here's Henderson stepping, running. Should be good enough for the first down. No, the slide came too early. A little mistake there. Now it's 3rd down and inches. We just got the play off. Henderson, middle. Oh, he got it. Puka with the grab. Puka got smoked in the middle of the field, but he survived and made the grab. Big catch by Nakua. Nice play. Next play. End zone. Got it. Fleming. The Flem God does it again. And Julian Fleming has been on a rapid pace since the return of Cooper Kupp. He has been a touchdown machine. And earlier in the season, Julian Fleming used to put up the yards, not the touchdowns. Now it's all touchdowns all day. And you can tell the presence of Kupp has helped that out. Running those zigs underneath whatever it may be with that slot. Omatic, an early 14-0 lead. This is out of the reach and intercepted. Bo Braid got it. And once more, Aaron Donald is the one that created the havoc. He put on the pressure. He forced the errant pass. He's the one with the under pressure ability that has us rocking and rolling. This is Higbee with the grab. Gonna get a yard, maybe 2. Bring up 3rd down and short early in the second quarter. Henderson out the shotgun. Looking, scanning. Maryland. What a 360 grab by RJ Maryland down to the 1. Let's see if we can cap it in. Oh no! Gibson goes the absolute wrong way, losing 4 yards. Next play. Fleming for the 2nd time today. So nice. He'll do it twice. Julian Fleming. I believe that's going to put him at double-digit touchdowns on the year. And he is playing that sweet touchdown music in the end zone. And what an onslaught this has been early on. 21-0. Kind of similar to our start against the Carolina Panthers. But this is a much better opponent, a much more impressive start to the game, and something that can send shockwaves throughout the conference as Johnny Wilson, the big receiver out of FSU, making the grab near midfield. Oh man, Aaron Donald is doing it all today. He's now on fire. He occupies a double team that allows Foyce Lucan to come in untouched, bringing up 3rd down and a mile. Wow! Grant Delpit with great closing speed to break up the seam route intended for Olave and put the Saints punting unit on the field. Here's Julian Fleming on the return, looking to keep the good vibes going. He's got the return man ability for whatever it's worth. Maybe not worth much there, as you see Kirk Merritt's back into the game, blocking for Gibson on that one. Good blitz pickup by Antonio Gibson. But a rare drop there by Julian Fleming. That'll bring up a 2nd down and 10. Here's Fleming with the step. Debt, taxes, and Julian Fleming being overthrown. Doesn't matter who the quarterback is. Now it's 3rd down and 10 after a couple of missed opportunities to Fleming. Henderson right back at it and going to Old Reliable. 10 does it again. Cooper Kupp, big gain in the corner as Antonio Gibson, when he starts getting that juke move going, you better be scared if you're the defense. Here's Gibson taking another toe at it, but we're not really getting too much success running the ball so far. It's been Jalen Henderson doing a lot of the damage with his arm and with his legs. This time he gets the slide in time to get the first down. We're in the red zone once more. We have a penalty on the play, and it might be holding on us. We'll see. It could be on the Saints. It actually is on the Saints, so we're going to get a free first down at the 13-yard line. That's beautiful. Gibson up the gut and in. Antonio Gibson with a speed boost. He scores. And Antonio Gibson putting up nice touchdown numbers on the year. It's all rounding into form right now. Most importantly, we're up 28-0, and it's just been a great team effort. Fleming doing his thing. Kupp's making big catches. Nakua with that great hole on 3rd down. And you got Antonio Gibson doing his magic as well. And this is what it looks like when our Rams team is fully healthy and ready to play. Maybe not 28-0 good, but it's definitely fluid. And now our defense is not giving up big plays left and right. But this is what we don't want to see. We're trying to avoid the injury bug, and this could be the biggest injury of them all. Aaron Donald is knocked out of the game for the time being as Kendre Miller taking advantage. Double juke out of bounds to the 18-yard line as we await the diagnosis on Donald. In the meantime, Eric Armstead almost came streaming through right there. It's still going to be a gain of 4. It is just a bruised shoulder for Aaron Donald and up 28-0. We're not going to rush that one. We'll try to hold down the fort without him as Duggan second down. Hey man, no Aaron Donald and the rest of the defensive line turns up. They smell opportunity, including Rayshon Benny, who's celebrating half a sack. Third down, Duggan rolling the pocket, eyes downfield, going end zone, and it's picked off. Oh, Travius Hodges-Tomlinson with a Santonio Holmes catch in the corner of the end zone. Miscommunication, as I believe Johnny Wilson was the intended target. He never saw the ball, but Trey definitely did. Travius with back-to-back weeks with an interception now as Puka Nacua in stride. Past midfield, prancing Puka out of bounds to the 35-yard line. We continue just playing near perfect offense until we jinx it with the interception. Trying to dial up Merritt out the backfield, and he stopped on his angle route. I'm not sure why. Clearly, I wasn't expecting it, or else I would have never thrown that. And that's our first real mistake offensively in this game. I hate that it had to happen, but I'm glad that it happened after we got a 28-0 lead, I suppose. It does suck that we gave up a scoring opportunity there. 35 seconds left for the New Orleans Saints, and let's see if they can steal a touchdown off our turnover before the end of the first half. Jatavion Sanders injured on the play. That's not good for New Orleans. It's going to take away their second timeout of the half. 30 seconds to go. Over the head of Hodges-Tomlinson and into the arms of Juwan Johnson as New Orleans burns their final timeout. 29 yards away from the end zone. Let's see what Duggan could cook up. Up the seam and caught. That's Juwan Johnson down to the 2. Remember, no timeouts. Duggan clocks it with 6 seconds to spare. Couple of shots to the end zone here. I don't think the Saints will try to settle for a field goal. Let's see what Duggan can do. First down. He throws it away. Out of bounds. I think that was a clear throwaway. Here we go. Final play of the half. 2 seconds left. Saints on the field. They'll run it. It's Kendre Miller. Denied. Rayshon Benny shuts the door. And that'll be the end of the first half. Rayshon Benny, the second-year defensive end. Oh, he's noisy today. He is super noisy. He is super impactful. Without Aaron Donald, Rayshon Benny decided to put on the Superman cape, and we hold the Saints to a first half goose egg. New Orleans does get the opening possession of the second half as Chris Olave makes the grab. A mismatch there with our safety Bo Brady guarding the best receiver on New Orleans. Is that Benny again? My goodness. Benny the Bull. Super noisy. Oh man, Rayshon Benny is unblockable. Don't run it his way. 4th down and 1. Can we get the stop? Saints at their own 47. They'll run it and they'll get it. Only a yard though. And if we're making the Saints sweat unnecessarily like that, that's advantage to our Rams. So they do get a big play. That'll put the Saints at the 31-yard line. Kendre Miller trying to get the Saints on the scoreboard any which way. Duggan. Here's Donald back into the game and dumping Duggar, who is injured. And now the Saints have to go to their 3rd-string quarterback on 3rd down and long. This is not an ideal situation. Let's see what Jalen Daniels can do. He's under pressure and he's picked off. Fully saying Lucan says pressure. Bus pipes. Now a Lucan on the run. He's, oh boy, gone. Isaiah Lucan cracks the game wide open as Daniels checks in and checks out the Saints' chances of winning the game. Duggan is done for the day. The Saints are stuck with the 3rd stringer who just threw a pick 6 in his first pass attempt, and I don't think it'll get much better from here. The New Orleans Saints at this point are probably just going to be focused more so on next week, given how bad of a spot they are in right now with an inexperienced and not a high overall quarterback by any means, as they'll get the reception here to Chris Olave. And hey man, once again, just like our offense, everyone's making noise defensively. Of course, Devon Jackson has an interception in this game. Trey's got one, as we see Eric Stork making the run. I mean, interior wise, Donald, of course, is Donald. Rayshon Penny, though, like, man, what a game he's putting together. And You just love to see it, man, because this is what we need. We need full team efforts. We don't just want one or two superstars dominating the game. We want everyone involved. Even Deion Jones playing good coverage on first down as the Saints are on the move, setting up a screen to Wilson, and Devon Jackson sniffed that one out from the word go. Another third down and long for Jalen Daniels. In trouble, feeling pressure, and picked off again. This time it's Delpit as the Rams are cashing in every opportunity to turn over the opposition. As we get the run here with Roschon Johnson. When Roschon Johnson's in the game, that's when you know it's gotten bad for the other team. As Johnson outside at 86 speed is not going to get him far at all. As Ashton Genty checking in. At this point, we're going to rest up Kirk Merritt. We're going to rest up Antonio Gibson. We're going to rest up everybody as we get the third down here to Tyler Higbee. RJ Maryland's off the field, Kupp's off the field, Fleming's off the field. They're all off the field right now. We got all the backups in. It's up 35-0 now. Aaron Donald's probably going to be done for the day, as well as a couple of other guys on defense. And now we get to put our eyes downfield, or just focus on the playoffs, as Tyree Jackson does an unnecessary Superman dive. I think it's safe to say we're going to win this game, and that will secure our playoff spot. We're going to clinch a playoff berth with a win. As far as seeding, the seeding is still unsure. We could be the 5 or 6, maybe even 7, but we do know that we are going to be playing on Wildcard Weekend. We are going to be a road team. But we do know we're going to be in the playoffs, and that means next week we can just rest guys up. Steve Vila, our starting left guard, just got injured, and hopefully he's all right, because we're pretty close to getting out of here without any injuries. As Bruce Sternum out for the rest of the game, that's fine. Rest up. At that point, it's actually fine that you got a Bruce Sternum, because I want him on the bench anyways, because he probably is our best offensive lineman at this point. He's around an 85 or 86 overall. As Jalen Daniels. This is an undesirable situation for sure, being thrown into the fire down 28-0 against a Rams team that's just playing really good football right now, as Daniels taking a scramble here, getting 6 yards in the fourth quarter. Like I said, you will notice some of our key guys, as I believe that's Foyce Lucan still in the game and screaming up the gut. We still got the Saints shut out here with 5 minutes to go. This was unexpected. I thought we were going to get a bar brawl today. Instead, this is straight up domination. Even a play like that the Saints get, you can see how Azariah Thomas, if he peeks around a second earlier, had a chance at a pick 6. That overthrow is nearly picked off by a waiting Bo Braid. As third down, this RPO is going to be caught by Olave. Hey, man, let's see if we can shut the Saints out. We talked about it last week against the Carolina Panthers. I'm all for winning the game all 4 quarters. Unfortunately, the shutout is no more as Johnny Wilson makes the reception. So you'll notice the length of this video is we still got half the video to go, and the reason for that is that Week 18 is actually in this video, as well as the Week 17 game. So our Week 18 game against the San Francisco 49ers is going to be against the CPU, because there is no 49er user right now, and we are going to be playing backups in that Week 18 game. So we're going to skip through that 49ers game, show a little bit of highlights, but not going to show too much of a meaningless Week 18 CPU game. No reason to make that its own separate video. As Roschon Johnson gets injured again in garbage time. This is your time to shine, buddy. Why do you not want to play? I don't understand it. But Ashton Genty will take that third down carry. I believe Roschon's going to be all right, so don't worry about him. Hopefully we can have another chance to put him in at garbage time, though. Actually, Roschon Johnson's probably going to get the start against the CPU 49ers. So that's going to be a pretty meaningless game besides for seeding and all that, as Daniel's still under duress here. He's thrown under the fire as we have a third down, and that will be Marshall on the run here, getting to the 41-yard line. Jalen Daniels at this point, just don't throw another interception, right? You don't want to make things worse than it is, but the Saints are really pushing to try to get a score here. Obviously, it's not going to affect the final score at all. They're down by a bunch, but they just called a timeout with like 40 seconds left as Stork makes the catch right there. He gets out of bounds, and yeah, the Saints are running this like it's a game-winning drive here as we tackle Sanders in bounds, and they called their second timeout, which is a little bit frustrating because just like, let's just get out this game. I think we should both have the same intentions. We'll end the game on our own terms, and that's the 14th interception on the year for Devon Jackson. He just tied Night Train Lane's all-time single-season record for interceptions on that theft. You want to play with fire, you'll get burnt. And that's what the Saints learned the hard way all day long as the Rams get a wire-to-wire victory, taking down the 2 seed in spectacular fashion. The Saints' chances of getting the 1 seed, done and dusted. Our Rams' chances of making the playoffs, 100%. As we check out the stats after the game, Devon Jackson with 14 picks. We got to go for that interception record for sure against the 49ers, but it's going to be the CPU, and I don't know if I can use him to bait the CPU or how that's going to work. It's going to be tough, but looking at the stats, man, Rayshon Benny with 5 tackles for loss. I mean, definitely his best game he has played in his first 2 years of his young career, and, you know, just once again, part of the story of this team that we are developing, all these young guys. Now, they're not just young guys anymore. They're forces. Rayshon Benny's around like an 85 overall, right? Rayshon Benny, Bo Braid, all these guys are making noise. They've been developed now. They are respectable starters in the league. It's not just, you know, these ragtag rookies that we're trying to have Cup and Donald put on their backs out here. Even Jalen Henderson's around an 80 overall right now. Julian Fleming is a superstar. So, you know, these boys have been getting their upgrades. They're getting up there around the 80s and overall. We drafted these guys around 60s and overall, and I mean, it's been a beautiful project to work on. Like I told you guys before, this development of this Rams team is a little bit different than the rebuilds we normally do, because a lot of our rebuilds focuses on a lot of big trades, and we just haven't done any of those. Besides Alucon, that wasn't a big trade. That was like a under the radar draft day move. Otherwise, we've just been developing our roster, and it's been fun. And we're going to see some of those backups in this game against the 49ers, because I'm not taking chances. We're going to run all the backup offensive linemen. We're going to run backup receivers. We're going to run, you know, Tyree Jackson's going to get the week 18 start. Jalen Henderson is clearly too fragile, so we're not going to worry about him. We'll put him on the bench as we check out the standings here. And you'll notice in the standings that we are currently 10-6, and there's only one team behind us, the Detroit Lions. They are 9-7 going into this game. I think they might have the tiebreaker on us. I'm not sure if we lose this game, if they can pass us for the 5 seed or not, which, I mean, there's a good chance we lose this game. We're playing against the all Madden CPU, and we're throwing all our backups in there against the starting San Francisco 49ers team that still has a lot of the top weapons that you know from San Francisco, like Fred Warner, Christian McCaffrey, and George Kittle. It'll be tough for sure, but you know, it might cost us a spot in seeding. I'm not sure, but we'll see, man. We'll see. I would rather prioritize health than playing for the 5 or the 6 seed, though. So whatever happens out there on the football field, but we're going to be playing backups. The only starters you'll probably notice out there, you'll see some Julian Fleming, and you'll definitely see Devon Jackson, because we're trying to get Devon Jackson that interception record. But when I say some Julian Fleming, you're not going to see a lot of Julian Fleming, but you'll definitely see some. And the reason for that is because Julian Fleming has a chance to win the Best Wide Receiver Award in the league. He's currently second entering this game behind Justin Jefferson. And I think if we can get some nice stats against the computer, that could propel Julian Fleming into first place. His rapid pace of scoring touchdowns has put him in position to win the award. And if we could win that award with Julian Fleming, that's XP. That's a potential superstar X Factor upgrade. And, you know, I think there's a way to go for it without risking injury. I think we can just focus on trying to get big plays. Whenever we put Fleming in the game, we always make him the target, and if we do make catches inbounds, we just give ourselves up or get out of bounds. Just take minimal hits to avoid getting him injured. So hopefully we can pull that off. My apologies if you heard my phone ring right there, as we get the punt force on San Francisco, and it's going to be a punt right back because we're going to take a 3rd down sack. And one of the things I mentioned is we are playing with the backup offensive line, and they might give up pressure as Christian McCaffrey high-stepping through our defense. That's always the fear of playing the all Madden CPU, is that you got to deal with that smoke. Christian McCaffrey breaking a bunch of tackles is what it is, as Davis Price vultures the touchdown on the drive. So, you know, if we lose this game, it is what it is. We got Jonnu Smith out there. We got Mike Evans playing backup receiver, Brandon Cooks. Though, if there's one thing you should know over the years watching these series, even against the computer, I like playing in these backup games. I like the challenge of it. I like trying to win these games with our backups when we're trying to rest guys. as Tyree Jackson gets injured, proving why we play backups in games like this. So now we have Graham Mertz checking into the game, and we have Ashton Genty checking into the end zone. Ashton, easy, open hole, he'll take it. The backup offensive line playing like starters. You love to see it as we cap off a 7-play, 75-yard drive. And Tyree Jackson with a pulled hamstring, and we're actually going to bring Tyree Jackson back. This guy really don't want to play with Graham Mertz. As third down, that's going to be a missed pass. Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback. Yes, that Shedeur Sanders, Deion's son. He got drafted number 2 overall in this league as Julian Fleming makes a big grab on third down. Tyree in the game, another third down, another fire from the chamber. This time he misfires. That would have been a touchdown to Brandon Cooks if it was on target. Maybe the pulled hammy is affecting his throwing motion. I don't know. I'm just trying to make excuses for the poor guy, I guess. But, yeah, that was an easy opportunity missed. And like I said, man, we're playing as all-man CPU. You know the all-man CPU cheats, but we can get our get back, including right here, a sack from Jadeveon Clowney as Shedeur goes the wrong way. Of course, we didn't play San Francisco earlier in the year. I think it was week 2. We were supposed to play the Niners, and that game ended up being a fair sim as Julian Fleming takes the top off the defense, and you can wave him goodbye. 75 yards, the long bomb, as Julian Fleming is seeking to win the best wide receiver award in the NFC Conference, trying to take the crown from Jay Jettas, and so far, so good. Touchdowns like that are good. We don't want to overdo it because there are rules on... Oh, wow. CPU just missed a field goal from 53 yards out. Yeah, there are rules on, you know, how much stats you can put up against the computer. You cannot overdo it. You can't have a 400-yard game against the CPU. No stat padding against the CPU. Just know that. But we have some leeway to try to get, you know, around like 100, 150 yards or something like that. As Ashton Genty suffers a broken hand... That's a big injury. That's going to knock him out of action probably for the rest of the season. So Roschon Johnson's really going to have to take the heavy workload for the rest of this game as we call a timeout on third down and goal at the 1-yard line. Roschon, he finishes the drive off barely with a touchdown. And given we only have 4 running backs on the roster, now 3 with Genty out for the rest of the game, we're probably going to have to put in a little bit of Kirk Merritt in this one, something we don't want to do. We're trying to rest up Merritt and Antonio Gibson, of course, for the playoffs. So we go into halftime up by 14 points on the CPU, feeling good. And, of course, after this game, we're going to show our end of regular season stats for the entire team. So definitely stay tuned in for that one. And, of course, to see if we can win this game, which right now is looking like a good chance as we get the completion to Kobe Bowman, the rookie. Kobe Bowman, way back in week 1, had to play a pretty prominent role on our team with all of our wide receivers injured. And we haven't really played Kobe Bowman since. And Kobe Bowman actually has really good route running stats. I just like having Mike Evans and Puka Nacua on the field over him because they're much better run blockers. And I feel like, you know, if there's going to be equal opportunities, I'm going to give the edge to the guy that's a better run blocker. And Nacua definitely is pretty high. Mike Evans, of course, is going to have high run blocking. And plus, you know, we're still trying to make the Puka Nacua thing happen. I don't know how much longer we can do it because, I mean, Puka makes nice catches sometimes, but he also doesn't get open a lot of the time. But at least for one more year, we're going to try to make it work with Puka Nacua as we've been doing here. And, you know, even after Mike Evans had that good game against the Falcons, once Cooper Kupp came back, Mike Evans ended up being the odd man out and had to be wide receiver 4 and had to sit on the bench behind Fleming, Kupp, and Julian Fleming. As Roschon Johnson's having a pretty solid game, it must be said. We're going to give Tyree Jackson the run, and it's not going to work out on third down. So 4th down and inches, we're actually going to kick the field goal here. I mean, 3 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Just make it a 3-possession game. Might as well try to get this game. So we're on pace to get the 5 seed in the NFC. Oh, there it is! The record! Devon Jackson with a quinceañera. 15 interceptions in his rookie year to break one of the league's longest standing records by Night Train Lane from the 1960s. Rewrite the record books because now it's Devon Jackson with 15 INTs in the 2025 campaign. He got Shedeur on the out route, and that's a perfect way to end the regular season as our Rams will be the 5 seed in the NFC Conference with today's victory over the San Francisco 49ers. That puts us in position for a round 1 matchup, a box office affair against the Dallas Cowboys. first things first, we check out the stats before we get out of here. Roschon just missed out on having a 100-yard game. Julian Fleming, mission accomplished, 164 yards and a touchdown, and that is actually going to put him in position to be first place in the wide receiver of the year battle. So we actually have a couple of awards coming our way, with Julian Fleming getting that wide receiver of the year, and Devon Jackson is going to be taking every award. Defensive rookie, yeah. Defensive back of the year, yup. Defensive player of the year, the man just broke a record. You better believe that's coming his way. A lot of hardware and a lot of XP. Of course, you don't get that XP from awards until Super Bowl week, so there's a good chance we don't see that until after our season is over, as we check out some of the injuries we sustained from today's game. We also lost Dylan Brooks, our backup outside linebacker, for a couple of weeks with a dislocated elbow, and Genty's out for 6 weeks, so we might have to put him on the IR. We are going to get Ashton Gallat back, and, you know, besides a couple of backups, we got our full team ready for the playoffs, ready for this round 1 matchup against the Dallas Cowboys, so really excited about that for sure. So now let's dive into these stats before we wrap things up, get a little 1,000 XP for our guys. So the quarterback situation was definitely up in the air. Jalen played a little over half the season, got injured in some of those games. Tyree Jackson actually checked in to 14 of the 17 games as the backup quarterback, and they came pretty close in stats. Tyree actually threw less interceptions and more touchdowns. Jalen had the higher completion percentage, and I believe the higher QB rating, but it was debatable between them. Running stats, once again, pretty close. We had Kirk Merritt. Antonio Gibson, despite having a couple of injuries, led the team, but you even had Jalen Henderson, who missed 5 games or so, sneaking in the picture over 500 yards. He had 10 rushing touchdowns on the season, so Jalen always a threat in the red zone to score the ball himself. Gibson actually missed out on double-digit touchdowns by 1. Probably could have gotten them in Week 18 if we needed it, but of course we did not. You see all the fumbles that we had, including 5 from Jalen, something we definitely need to clean up if we want to have dreams of making a postseason run. Receiving numbers, you check out Julian Fleming led this team in receiving. Cooper Kupp, after his 4-game suspension, is still able to get double-digit touchdowns and over 100-yard receiving. You love to see it. RJ Maryland in his rookie year, he had an injury himself, gets 386 yards. Nakua with a solid 600. And Kirk Merritt always doing Kirk Merritt stuff out there. Antonio Gibson had a much better receiving year last year. We didn't really need it, though. And then Mike Evans with a nice 279 and 3 receiving touchdowns, 2 coming in that Falcons game. And, you know, a couple of guys at the end of the bench like Brandon Cooks, Kobe Bowman, whomever, that contributed any way they could. Shout out Rob Havenstein, always leading this team in sacks allowed. The old man has been a Ram for life, so we kind of just have him out there out of seniority, but not really for any good reason otherwise. Foyce Lucan leading our team in tackles, no surprise there. Grant Delpit, our strong safety, up there. That's definitely a nice sight. And Devon Jackson, he doesn't even play every down. He was 3rd in tackles. So Devon Jackson was just an all-around great player. And for an end of 2nd-round draft pick, I mean, what an addition to this defense. Tackles for loss, of course, Aaron Donald's up there. Rayshon Benny being number 2. That's exactly what we envisioned when we drafted him, so you'll have to see it. And Lucan's high as well. Lucan just being that tackling machine for us. And shout out to Rayshon Benny for actually leading the team in sacks. He got more sacks than Aaron Donald on the year. It was really a down year for our team in sacks in general. Byron Young, only 2. Remember, he had double digits in his first season. He only gets 2 on the year. You know, a little bit of a down year for Byron Young. We'll see if he can make an impact in the playoffs. Of course, interceptions are going to be led by Devon Jackson. It seemed like we got more interceptions than sacks on the year. Kobe Durant had a solid 5. It seems like Kobe's always getting 4 or 5 a year. Grant Delpit with a nice 7 on the season. Bo Braid sneaking in 3. Lucan 2, including the pick 6 in that Saints game. Azariah Thomas, the rookie, had 2. Trey Hodges-Tomlinson, he actually had 0 interceptions before the last couple of weeks against the Panthers and the Saints. He got 2 to get the goose egg off of his stat line. No one forced more than 1 fumble on the year. We had a lot of guys force 1, and no one forced 2. I don't think fumbles really went our way this year, but we definitely recovered a decent amount, as we see Rayshon Benny blocked a kick, but I don't remember doing that. That might have been in one of the CPU fair sims. I really don't remember that happening. You got to keep in mind with these stats you're seeing that 2 of these games were CPU fair sims, so I had no control over it. So Devon Jackson ended up getting 3 touchdowns on the year. I believe that's all pick 6s, and I'm pretty sure 2 of those came in the first 2 games of the year. So shout out to him. Chase McLaughlin, actually just a perfect year. He almost had the perfect season last year. He actually gets the perfect campaign this time around, and you guys will see at the end of this video, Chase McLaughlin actually ended up winning kicker of the year in the NFC for his perfect season. So That was a nice touch, unexpected, but we'll definitely take it. The return game was not that strong this year, must be said, right? Special teams was really good to us last year, with Trey taking a couple of kickoffs back, Julian Fleming being really good in the punt return game, and taking that one punt back in the playoffs. But this year we didn't really have that for whatever reason, so we'll see how that carries over. As you see some of the awards before we get out of here. Julian Fleming, 5th in Offensive Player of the Year. You'll love to see it. Like I said, Devon Jackson's taking home all the hardware. Julian Fleming, shout out to him. He's going to get his Best Wide Receiver award. Jalen Henderson somehow finished 4th in Best QB, even though he missed a bunch of the season and like barely played in 2 of those games that he got injured. So speaks to how good of a season he was having, and potential Pro Bowl season that we missed out on with those injuries. But that's going to do it for this video, as Cooper Kupp finishes top 10 best wide receiver as well. Leave a like on this one if you guys enjoyed what you guys saw today. Subscribe for more Madden 24 gameplays, and I'll catch you guys next time for the playoffs. We'll be in wildcard weekend against the Dallas Cowboys. Catch you then.